Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for checking the video out. Today we have more PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks to go over and cover today. So getting right into these topics, the first thing I want to take a moment here to share with everybody is a fan-made concept trailer for Demon's Souls 2 made in Unreal Engine 5. Came across this from WCCF Tech where they say Demon's Souls is a game that many From Software fans remember fondly, and while the PlayStation 5 remake brought new life to the kingdom of Boletaria, many would love to return to it for a new adventure. Enfant Terrible recently shared on YouTube a new Unreal Engine 5 powered concept trailer that imagines how Demon's Souls 2 would look powered by the engine by Epic and its features such as Nanite and Lumen. While some of the locations shown in the video look a little off regarding atmosphere compared to the original game, others would definitely not look out of place in an official game by From Software. Now obviously, there is no telling if we will ever get a Demon's Souls 2, but still this just caught my attention because I still think about Demon's Souls remake on the PS5 and I still feel like this is one of the best looking games ever made. I think Bluepoint did a phenomenal job, and it's hard to say if From Software would ever consider going back to Demon's Souls 2. I feel like, you know, after the success of Elden Ring, they're going to continue to pursue that, and if they were to work with Sony to any capacity, I think a sequel to Bloodborne or spiritual successor to Bloodborne seems more likely than Demon's Souls 2, but I have seen quite a few people talk in the past about how they would love to get a Demon's Souls 2. So just wanted to show this to you guys. Let me know your thoughts on it. Next up, I want to let everybody know that Sony has added a 2-hour trial for Steel Rising for PS5 if you are subscribed to PlayStation Plus Premium. This was something that was quietly added, but this is a game that is developed by a French developer, Spiders, and this is a Souls-like title. I've actually heard pretty good things about it. This is a game that I do want to play. So if you are subscribed to Premium, you can give this a try. And on top of that, when it comes to Steel Rising, there's an update that's coming out on September 29th that's going to add New Game Plus. And they're also going to add 4 new weapons and an extra outfit. And so the patch will also rebalance some combat mechanics and fix a variety of bugs. So yeah, if you are somebody who maybe already played Steel Rising or you're playing it now, let me know what you think of it. And if not, let me know if this is something you plan to try out through PlayStation Plus Premium. Moving on, I want to let everybody know that PlayStation Tournaments public beta is now available on PS5. Reading from PlayStation Lifestyle, they say Sony has announced that the PlayStation Tournaments public beta is open now on PS5 in the US, with the company hoping to get feedback from players starting with Guilty Gear Strive. This on-console tournament feature promises to make entering competitions easier with a brand new UI, shorter tournament times, and simple signups. The public beta is scheduled to expand to more countries with additional titles. First off, you'll need to be a resident of the eligible country, in this case the US, have a PlayStation Plus membership at any tier, an internet connection, and own the PS5 version of the game supported by PlayStation Tournaments. If you satisfy all of those requirements, you'll be able to head to the game application for Guilty Gear Strive, scroll down to view any available tournaments, and sign up by opening the activity card for the competition. Viewing the activity card during the competition will allow you to see the status of the bracket and track player progress throughout the tournament. Competitors will be notified through an on-console 2-minute warning before their next match is scheduled to start, so they will be able to do something else while waiting. After the tournament, you'll see the tournament results and earn prizes or rewards depending on your placement. During the beta, this will just be a special avatar, but once PlayStation Tournaments officially launches in the coming months, cash prizes and other rewards will be up for grabs. According to the official rules, the Guilty Gear Strive tournament format for the beta will be 1v1 single elimination with random player seeding and a 99-second time limit. Players will have 5 minutes to show up for a match before receiving an automatic loss. So there's your update on the PS5 tournaments. I'll definitely be interested to hear from anybody who maybe is planning to participate in this, so let me know down in the comments below. Next up, we are talking once again about some very interesting comments that PlayStation's Shuhei Yoshida made, this time talking about premium releases versus releasing them into a subscription service. Reading from PlayStation Universe, they say speaking during GI Live, the head of PlayStation's Indies division, Shuhei Yoshida, talked about the company's continued belief in premium releases before subscription services. Keeping that in mind, however, he did also speak about the new PlayStation Plus model and how PlayStation is essentially experimenting right now with subscription services. So this is the direct quote from Shuhei Yoshida. "We believe in the premium release of a title at launch and maybe 6 months or 3 months or 3 years when the game's sales come down, inclusion into the service PS Plus Extra. This can help introduce these games to new, broader audiences. Some people might have missed these games when they came out, and it's a great chance to play and generate word of mouth, or if there's DLC or a sequel going, we can help elevate interest to a broader audience about the franchise." He continues by saying, "We are encouraging publishers to make use of these services in managing the life cycle of each title." And so I wanted to be sure to highlight this because we are once again seeing Sony kind of reaffirm their stance when it comes to the way they are viewing subscription services. The thing that I do think is worth highlighting here is how Shuhei Yoshida puts emphasis on them experimenting with subscription services. And that makes sense because this is where we are seeing PlayStation experiment with a lot of different things, and seeing them try different things within their subscription service with PS Plus Extra is no surprise. But one thing continues to remain clear, and that is that they are not planning on deviating from the model that has worked for PlayStation since the PlayStation 1 and continues to work for them, that being the premium release model. And you guys know me at this point. I'm a fan of this model. This is one of the things that, in my opinion, allows PlayStation to be able to kind of facilitate some of these massive games that we get from them. And I think that with other AAA publishers, we continue to kind of see that, remain true. So there you go. If you were wondering, now in September of 2022, where PlayStation stands when it comes to them having a new subscription service tier with PlayStation Plus Extra, as well as Premium, they are still standing firm in premium releases and backing that up. And to be honest, this shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody, because even when PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium were launching, Sony's Jim Ryan came out and said that one of the reasons they're investing so heavily going forward into live service games is because they believe that's where the future lies in terms of growth, not necessarily a subscription service like PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium. Obviously, that doesn't mean that they're not going to have their own service, and Sony doesn't know the future. No one really knows the future. We don't know how these things could work out. But, when you look at the success that PlayStation has found with the premium release model, I don't think anybody could blame them for wanting to stick with that. So be sure to let me know your thoughts about what Shuhei Yoshida is saying here about premium releases, but continuing to talk about some interesting insight we're getting from Shuhei Yoshida. This time it has to do with Jim Ryan, and it's actually some good news for Jim Ryan. I was surprised to kind of see this being a bit underreported. I mean, people are very quick to jump on Jim Ryan anytime he says or does something that can be considered controversial. But this is actually, I think, some really good news. So reading here from PlayStation Lifestyle, they say Shuhei Yoshida became the head of PlayStation Indies back in November of 2019 and is widely credited with changing the company's focus from AAA games to a more varied output. But it seems like the planning for this change had already started before he got the role. Yoshida stated that it was actually PlayStation CEO Jim Ryan who pushed for a bigger focus on indie games and the formation of the PlayStation Indies team. Throughout 2018 and 2019, PlayStation was focusing more on the AAA side of gaming. In a fireside chat with GamesIndustry.biz, Yoshida explained how it was actually Jim Ryan that wanted to change this. In mid-2019, Jim Ryan asked a global third-party relations team to come up with a plan to reinvigorate PlayStation's efforts to help indie publishers and indie developers, and the result was PlayStation Indies. Shortly after Yoshida was brought on board, Greg Rice joined the team after losing his job at Double Fine thanks to the takeover by Microsoft. Together, they hatched a plan that was presented to management in January 2020, and it gained their support. The renewed effort has led to many changes being made. Indie developers used to submit their games to all 3 PlayStation regions, the Americas, Europe, and Japan, each of which had slightly different rules that made the publishing process harder, PlayStation Indies simplified this process in time for the launch of the PS5 and has now introduced its own publishing team. The team also tries to curate the cream of the crop of indies and showcases them more. Methods to do this include the indie showcases on the PlayStation blog, the monthly picks on the PlayStation Store, and the wishlist feature on PS5, all of which results in more coverage for indie games. Despite this, Yoshida acknowledges that there are still a ways to go before indie coverage is where it needs to be, especially where all the team is able to ensure all indie games are treated equally in terms of coverage and promotion. So again, this is some very interesting insight we're gaining from Shuhei Yoshida. There were write-ups not that long ago claiming that the only things Sony cared about internally were the big AAA titles, and they were neglecting indies and indie developers, and they just didn't have any interest. Turns out that that's not true. The truth is, Jim Ryan is the one that was responsible for trying to actually put more focus on these indies, and as he puts it, kind of reinvigorate that aspect of PlayStation. And I think that Sony has been doing a very good job when it comes to indies, and I also think that it's pretty telling when you see somebody like Shuhei Yoshida being put in charge of an initiative like this. Shuhei Yoshida is respected throughout the entire industry, and he is a veteran. He knows what he's doing. He's one of the best at what he does, so you know that Sony was taking it seriously by putting him in charge of this initiative. And so, you know, we do get a lot of maybe not so great news regarding Jim Ryan, but we have to give credit where it's due here. And so in this case, let's give Jim Ryan some credit for being sure to kind of, you know, put this initiative forward and get this going. That's going to do it for the video though, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. I hope you did find it informative. If you did, be sure to leave it a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share the video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.